Hey everyone, and welcome to this training on people pleasing, how to get a handle on it. People pleasing is one of the biggest issues I come across when I'm working with clients one-to-one. And if you want to know more about that, drop me a message or click the link at the end of this video to book your free discovery call. Right, let's get on to people pleasing, shall we? So, what is it? Well, from a very young age, it's ingrained in most people that they should be kind, courteous, and in most cases, this translates to saying kind words and helping people when the need arises. However, for others, this can extend to unhealthy extremes when the need to help comes at the expense of their own needs. So, what are the signs of a people pleaser? Well, it's important to remember that there's a huge difference between being a kind, caring person and being a people pleaser. The following signs will actually help you decide which category you fall under. And I'm probably sure as I go along, you will go, yep, because I know I did. So first one is acting differently in front of various people. People who constantly need to please others will often do so by acting the way they think a specific person expects. In most cases, this means that they will have behaviours that are apparent to one person or group of people, and then they change when they're either at home or with someone else. Second one is a constant need for praise. Often, since people pleasers thrive on the approval of others, they're more likely to ask for the praise they need. Even the smallest task they perform will result in them asking for the approval of others. Now, to be able to hear that they did a good job, well done. Then there's being the yes person. People pleasers often have difficulty saying no to others, simply because they fear it will be met with disapproval. If they succeed in saying no, then they often feel guilty, and we know where guilt leads us. On the other hand, if they say yes, they often feel shame, and we know where shame leads us. And they feel that shame because they couldn't stand up for themselves in the first place. Then we've got apologising constantly. Some people pleasers constantly need to apologise, even if they did nothing wrong. For example, if someone expresses that something happened to them, you might apologise and take on the blame. And then we've got agreeing even when you disagree. During conversations, a people pleaser will sometimes agree with the person speaking, although they may not even believe what they're saying. Once again, it goes back to the constant need to please others. And then maybe you've never seemed to have time for yourself. People pleasers are often so busy helping others that they neglect the important things to them. They often see that it's more important to do for others, and that what they need can wait for another time. Overall, people pleasing stems from the belief that you should put others before yourself. While this is an honourable trait, you need to be careful not to go overboard. When helping others results in your needs not being met, then it may be time to take a second look. Remember, there is a reason they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first on the aeroplane before helping others. So, why do people become people pleasers? Well, people pleasing is a certain state of mind where an individual convinces themselves that pleasing others is much more important than their own happiness. While this may not sound that bad, ignoring your own needs for others can negatively impact your life in a major way. Most people pleasers know how bad it can be, so how do they end up doing it anyway? Well, quite often, it'll come from an unstable childhood. Number one reason adults become people pleasers is that their needs weren't met as a child. If you're raised in a home without a great parent, you may become people pleasing as a matter of survival. For example, people pleasing is common in an individual raised by a parent with mental illness. A child can't comprehend conditions like bipolar or depression. If the parent regularly took out their emotions on the child became a people pleaser to avoid the parent's outbursts, and this behaviour continues into adulthood. Then people pleasing also comes from trauma. Remember, it's not everyone had a rough childhood. Sometimes it comes from people who spent a long time experiencing trauma that they never recognised or learned to overcome. For example, someone in an abusive relationship might become a people pleaser to avoid their partner's wrath. Let's suppose that relationship continues for an extended period, which unfortunately these relationships frequently do. In that case, People pleasing becomes a habit that is tough to shake. This behaviour will often continue even when the abusive relationship eventually and thankfully comes to an end. While sometimes the origins of people pleasing are dark, that isn't always the case. People pleasing is a habit. Sometimes people pleasing is just something you got used to. If you found out early in life that people pleasing leads to good outcomes, making people happy, keeping your head down, words of thanks, then of course you're going to continue the behaviour. But some people get so used to putting others first that they never learn to put themselves first. It can be hard to break past people-pleasing habits, even when they try. When you think about it, people-pleasing is easy. Some people just want a quiet life. Sometimes people-pleasing is just easier than life itself. It's easier just to give in and stand your ground. But this is no way to live your life. Yes, compromise is a part of life and relationships, but being walked all over isn't. Just because it's easier to avoid conflict by giving up doesn't mean it's a good idea. So, what is the importance of breaking these habits? Well, being kind to others is an important part of being a human being, unless, of course, that kindness goes too far. When this caring nature turns into people-pleasing, as we've identified, it becomes detrimental to your well-being. It's also important to keep in mind that while helping others is a good thing, doing it at the personal cost to you and your family is not. And there's several reasons why breaking the people-pleasing habit can be good for you. The first one, stress and anxiety. When you're constantly trying to please others, it tends to take a hit on your mental well-being in various ways. And if you're watching this, I would suggest probably by binge eating, emotional eating or overeating. At times you can feel so stressed because either you said yes to something you really did not want to do or because you said no, maybe for the first time. Being under that constant state of stress and anxiety is not good for your mental or physical health and can lead to more severe side effects. Too much stress, as we have identified, can lead to illness and other diseases. But breaking the people-pleasing habit can free you from the anxiety you are under and allow you to focus on your own needs. Then you might find a better life balance. Typically, if you are a people pleaser, you may have a hard time thinking about anything or anyone except those that need your help. It is in times like these that your life balance begins to falter and why you can never find that time for yourself. Remember that it is not humanly possible to provide everything for everyone. A people pleaser feels a certain responsibility to try to do just that while also taking care of themselves. But breaking this habit can provide you with more balance in your life for the most important things, such as yourself and your family. Then we've got less self-neglect. Because people pleasers have a tendency to put others before themselves, self-care can be put on the back burner. One of the things I find constantly with my clients. This includes not only their mental health, but physical and emotional health. You see, when you spend all your time helping others, you typically do not have time to make sure that you are okay. Keeping in mind the words of that flight attendant, like we said before, the pre-flight speech, when they remind you to put your oxygen mask on before you attempt to help others, if you do not take care of yourself, you will not be any good to anyone else. It's a really important, fundamental step that you need to work on. See, breaking the habit of pleasing others will allow you that time and energy to focus on your health and well-being. At the end of the day, knowing that people-pleasing can be an unhealthy habit if you let it go too far, and understanding the importance of breaking that habit is vital to becoming healthier and more productive. But remember, you don't have to do this alone. It's what coaching, or my coaching, can support and guide you through this. So, what are those 5 signs that you might be a people pleaser? Well, has someone told you you're a people pleaser? It might be true, but you know what? It's a good idea to get a second opinion if you aren't sure. So here are 5 signs that you might be a people pleaser, and consider these to be your second opinion. Number 1, you can't say no. Your friend has asked you for a favour for the 10th time, your boss has asked you to stay late again, both your divorced parents want to see you at the same time at Christmas. A people pleaser says yes to all these people because they can't seem to say no to anyone. Not saying no means you are definitely a people pleaser, especially when you say yes to things that you know aren't going to work out. The second one is you constantly wonder what others think. You're always worried what your friends might hate you, or that your significant other doesn't see you the way you want them to see you. These anxious thoughts are a sure sign of people-pleasing behaviour. Thoughts like these cause you to please others before taking care of yourself. Third, you feel you never have time. A common thing I hear from my clients. Self-care is important, and most people-pleasers find they simply don't have the time. Mostly because they are so busy saying yes to everyone else. Take a look at your schedule. Do you have time penciled in just for you? If not, you're probably a people pleaser. And then the fourth one, you feel bad saying no. Okay, so maybe you can say no, and you have said that before. However, did you feel bad or guilty when you said it? You have every right to say no, and you shouldn't feel bad doing it. If you do, this is another sign that you're a people pleaser. And then the fifth one is you constantly apologise. You're always apologising for everything, even stuff that may not be your fault. This isn't healthy and means that you are probably a people pleaser. Remember, people pleasers want people to like them no matter what, which can lead to them apologising for things that didn't do just to make sure they stay in a good person's books. Now, did you find that 3 or more of those things described you and how you feel? If so, like we said, you're like the people pleaser. But if you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure you know that you are. Now, if you don't want to damage your own health, pleasing others, it's definitely time to accept that you're people pleasing and begin to looking for help to overcome that. Again, I have options and availability to help you do this. And then the third one, the last slide is 3 things that happen when you stop people pleasing. This is the point we need to get you to work towards. If you've ever been or currently a people pleaser, then you're going to know how hard it is to break the habit of putting others before yourself. As much stress and anxiety pleasing others causes you, it can get worse when you choose to stop it, at least initially. This is because of the guilt and shame that come into play when you start saying no. Same guilt and shame that triggers you when you're binge eating. But making that decision to stop people pleasing is that important step towards your freedom. And you should know that 3 important things that will happen when you stop people pleasing. The first one, you're going to discover who your friends are. Unfortunately, there will always be people who only want to hang out with you for what they can get, what you can do for them, and what they can get from you. You cannot change these people as much as you want to. When you stop trying to please them and begin saying no, sometimes you may find they suddenly do not have time for you. But that's okay. Second, you start making time for yourself. When you stop giving all your time and attention to everyone else, you tend to have more time for yourself. This means that not only are your needs met, but you may have time to spend on things that are important to you. Keep in mind that you may end up feeling guilty that you have time for yourself, at least in the beginning. But you know what? You're going to get used to it. Then the third one is you're going to gain confidence. The common trait most people pleasers possess is low self-esteem. This is why you may prioritize the needs of others over yourself. But when you stop people pleasing, you begin to feel more confident in your actions. The more times you say no, the more sure of yourself you become. You need to understand that you are not responsible for others' people's thoughts or happiness. When you realize all of the stress and anxiety you feel because you're constantly doing for others is not worth it, then you'll truly be able to move past your people-pleasing behavior. At the end of the day, while some of the outcomes of stopping your people-pleasing habits may be unpleasant, keep in mind that eventually you're going to feel better. That unpleasant feeling will pass at some point, leaving you feeling a sense of pride and peace that you may not have otherwise felt. Now, this usually occurs when you realise that your needs are just as important as others. In fact, I would go as far as saying more important. Hopefully you find this training really useful. If you want to know more about working with me one-to-one, make sure you click the link that's on this video and book your free discovery call.